Hey guys, Greg here. It is time for another video. This is going to be a record haul video. I think 11 records in total to show you. This is part 2 of a library sale I went to in the last couple days here at LA Public Libraries, Los Angeles Public Libraries. They have these Friends of the Library book sales all the time, and they got a lot of, sometimes they have great records and CDs and books and stuff. So that's what this is about. Last year, you may know I did a couple videos, 60 records for $60 that I got at one of these sales. All amazing jazz titles. Yusef Lateef and Joe Henderson and Miles and Monk and Coltrane and some rare stuff. This year, I was alerted to the sale that had some vinyl records, but they were terrible. But turns out they had a lot of CDs, so I went Thursday. Thursday is members only. I am a member. Pay a few bucks to be a member to go to the Thursday preview sale. Got 20 CDs, which I did a video on already. I called that something about a giant CD sale. I went back again because one record I went back. Let's see, where is that record? Hold on. So Thursday I spent 20 bucks on 20 CDs, and I only had 20 bucks. I'm like, well, there's this one Anthony Braxton CD I want. Let me go back on Saturday, see if it's still there. Of course it's there. Who likes Anthony Braxton? Okay, normal people don't. You gotta be a pretty hardcore jazz out there, free jazz person to know who Anthony Braxton is. Not Tony Braxton, we're talking Anthony Braxton. So Anthony Braxton, of course the record was still there. I think I mentioned that. Anthony Braxton, 4 compositions. What year did this come out? 2000 on Delmark Records. And the compositions, he's nice enough to include all of the sheet music for the compositions right on the record. So, can we focus on that? That is the notation. So he invented his own musical notation, and his notation is very out there. His music is very out there, but the good news is I was able to find this record, even though it sat at the sale for 3 days. The bad news is I spent more money and I bought a total of 10 discs. But before we get into CDs, what about vinyl? What about vinyl? This just came in the mail today, a record that I really was not familiar with, but I have to thank Mr. Stephen Schnee, because he featured this record, Blackbird, on a video he did maybe 2 weeks ago on the Kinman brothers, Chip and Tony Kinman, which we were very familiar with because of their band Rank and File that my wife loved, have all their records. So we sat and watched, we spent an evening sitting there and watching Stephen Schnee videos together, just me and the wife on the couch. Isn't that romantic, Stephen? And at the end he played excerpts from all the Kinman's projects, and we went searching online for all of their other projects. And this is the first one we found. It was only a couple bucks. Blackbird. This is late 80s, punky, edgier sound than you're used to from the Kinmans. Anyway, enough about the Kinmans. Go watch Stephen Schnee if you want to hear about that. Let's get into these CDs that I got at the sale. Did I mention that there are like 50, I don't know how many there are, I'm guessing 50 libraries in the LA Public Library system. I got the bag here. LA Public Library. Support your LA Public Library. There's probably 50 branches, and on any given weekend, there's probably 2 or 3 of them that are having a Friends of the Library sale. So check with your local branches and see when they have these sales. Pay extra to become a member if you want early access. So this is now a thing in our life, going to these library sales. Okay. Let's get into the rest of the records, CDs, if you will. Remember, I like jazz, I like classical. I'm just gonna start going through some of these. Okay. Dexter Gordon, Blue Note. Do I know what year this is? Unfortunately, it's really hard for me to read these, but Dexter Gordon, Sonny Clark, Butch Warren, Billy Higgins. This is a classic. I think I already have an LP or a CD of this. Okay, so if I have 2, okay, one in the car, one at the office, I don't know. But couldn't pass it up. I just saw this laying laying there just as I was leaving. Bring it to an even $10. How about on the ECM label, Egberto Gismonti? Now, I want to say he's Brazilian, but I could be wrong. 1976, Egberto Gismonti on guitars, piano, flutes, and Nana Vasconcelos, one of the most famous Brazilian musicians. So I'm not that familiar with this record, but I listened to a few seconds of it, and it's going to be great. Anything on ECM, anything by those two chaps has got to be good. Here's a record I never saw before. Lou Donaldson, Midnight Sun. Now, Lou Donaldson, last I checked, is still with us in his 90s. And wait a minute, what happens when we open up the gatefold? Check it out. This is 2 Lou Donaldson records for the price of 1. Blues Walk on Blue Note 1593. Anyway, so yeah, I saw Horace Parlan, and I thought I got to get that because Horace Parlan. But there's 2 different records. One of them is with Horace Parlan, and one of them is not that familiar. But anything Blue Note for $1, 2 records for $1. Come on, what a deal! All right, the last video I showed you a couple days ago had a Gabor Szabo. Here's another one. Gabor Szabo, Hungarian guitar player. This is called Spellbinder. It is on Impulse, and it does have the Japanese obi strip. My wife tells me that obi is simply the Japanese word for belt. Is that true? I always wondered why they call them obi strips. This, blah, 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 blah. What else was I going to tell you? Oh, check out who plays on here, guys. Willie Bobo, Ron Carter, Chico Hamilton. But as with a lot of stuff by this guy, it's a lot of pop tunes, okay? It was a very good year. My Baby Shot Me Down. Autumn Leaves is not so much as a jazz tune, My Foolish Heart. So he kind of bridges the gap between very poppy, kind of like the Wes Montgomery Verve stuff, but very interesting guy, and he died young in his 40s, I think. Spellbinder, kind of a different cover for the Impulse series, don't you think? All right, let's get weird. Okay, I saw this and I knew it was going to be weird. Reginald Workman. But look who else plays on here. Okay, this is called Cerebral Caverns, and it looks weird, and it is weird. It's what I call, you know, free jazz avant-garde. This is from 1995. Jerry Allen, Al Foster, Sam Rivers. Okay, Sam Rivers, one of the greatest of the great free jazzers on saxophone. So you bet I'm gonna grab that for $1, even though I know little or nothing about what's going on there. Reggie Workman was doing weirder stuff later in his career, I guess. Okay, now let's go the other direction. How about Sonny Stitt? Awfully sunny in here, by the way. A lot of sun. We're near the window. Sonny Stitt, one of the greatest journeyman sax players of all time, and Hank Jones. The complete original quartet recordings. What can I say about this? 1955, 1957. So this looks like it was 3 different LPs slapped together on a CD from a label that I know nothing about. It has kind of a mosaic-y look to it, but it's not mosaic. In terms of the black and white. Half of the CDs I got have broken teeth. We're gonna have to go to the jazzodontist here. Broken teeth joke. Yeah, that's not my best work. Lone Hill Jazz, 2005. Know nothing about it. Made in the EU. Okay, never heard of it. Okay, we're coming down to some interesting and weird things. Do you guys know DJ Spooky? He is a DJ, hip-hop, trip-hop, ambient, and he pairs himself a lot with real jazz musicians. DJ Spooky, okay, this is on Thirsty Ear Records, which is known for doing, what artists does Thirsty Ear have? Can't remember. They got a lot of cool artists on Thirsty Ear. But look who plays on here. Matthew Shipp, modern out there piano player. William Parker, one of the most important free jazz bass players of all time. And Joe McPhee plays sax and trumpet on here. Joe McPhee, one of the not as well known, but really pretty big time free jazz, spiritual jazz guys. So this is an unusual, grouping of people. But DJ Spooky often plays with jazz people. So his band is called that Subliminal Kid. And that, I found out, is a character from a William Burroughs novel. I haven't read the William Burroughs novels, but I know he's, the artsy and the avant-garde. Just check out the artwork. And William Burroughs and I went to the same school in St. Louis. We were 30 or 40 years apart. Okay. Getting down to something interesting and weird. Okay. Check out this. Check it out. Mobile Fidelity. How often do you get a Mobile Fidelity for $1? Velvet Underground with Nico. This is, produced by Andy Warhol. This is one of their most famous albums, probably their most famous album, the Velvet Underground. I don't consider myself a huge Velvet Underground fan. I consider myself a fan of getting an Ultra Disc Gold disc, high fidelity disc for $1 that is going for $300 on eBay today. And these things are so annoying. How do you get this back in? It's got the little, it's the fiddliest thing. It's a good way to scratch up an expensive disc, and this thing came off. But this might just be appearing on an eBay near you someday. Plastic is problematic, sure. But there was a period in the 80s, 90s where people were putting out discs with gold, thinking, oh, it sounds better because it's gold instead of aluminum. I don't know if that's true or not, but they are prized by audiophile collectors who aren't into vinyl. Yes, there is such a thing. Okay. The best and the worst thing in the pile is this. Gigi Grice, wonderful hard bop saxophonist and composer, played on a lot of classic recordings and had some solo recordings, and I have none of Gigi Grice's solo stuff. So when I saw this, 8 albums that I know I could pick up for $1. Okay. Yes, it's good, but it's not good. Good and not good at the same time. Why? Because upon further inspection, this is one of those cheeseball Eurotrash labels that cropped up solely for the task of copying American albums from the 50s that were briefly out of copyright in the UK. UE, I should say, UE. And the UK used to be part of the UE. It's not anymore. But this record would technically not really be legal to sell in the US. And all those labels, Wax Time, Waxy, DOL, Doxy, which I trash all of them because they're garbage. Well, they sound okay. Yeah, but they're garbage because they don't pay the royalties that are owed. Well, it's legal in the UK and the UE. Well, this is the United States. Just because it's legal over there doesn't mean it's legal over here. And just because the mechanical copyright on the recording expired, doesn't mean the royalties expired. The royalties are due until 75 years after the death of the composer. So anyone who wrote songs on here, probably still alive, unless we're going back to Gershwin days. So the odd thing was, Gigi Grice, the library sale had like 20 of these, all different artists. Wes Montgomery and, name somebody, Freddie Hubbard and a bunch of artists. All these little four disc sets. This is eight records for $1. And they all came from the record store right down the street that I go to all the time. I don't need to mention them now. But the good news is I think that record store donated all these to the library sale because they knew they couldn't sell them. And they're still on the shelf at the library sale, so they're going to get donated to some shelter or something soon. I grabbed one for research purposes, but in general, the idea of ripping off, if you're going to rip someone off out of their royalties, black jazz musicians, right? Because they're overpaid, right? No, that's facetious. So this record has a website. some stupid website. Musicmelon dot something UK, blah, blah, blah. I went there. Website's gone. The good news is they seem to be out of business, and my local record store will not be ordering any more of their crappy CDs. If you decided to just copy these records and start selling them in the United States, you'd be guilty of copyright infringement. And if the record company was big enough to send their lawyers over to hassle you, they would hassle you. They could confiscate all your merchandise. They could arrest you. They could fine you. So let's be cool when it comes to helping jazz musicians pay the bills. That's it, guys. I got 30 discs and probably 45 actual physical CDs that I got to start listening to. So I'm going to get on that task, even though they're CDs, not albums. And a reminder, I am active on Instagram. And follow me. I will follow you back. I will endeavor to follow anyone who has a vinyl channel. Vinyl, jazz, music, guitars, hi-fi. That's what I'm into. All that stuff. Okay. All those pasty-faced, middle-aged, white guys who live a solitary life. Those are my hobbies, guys. So follow me, chat with me, and if you're in LA, come say hi. All right, guys, I think that covers it. Thank you for watching. Keep whatever you're spinning, keep it spinning. Was I in focus? All right, bye-bye.